Hello and welcome to Challenge Your Mind, Change the World, the podcast where we dive deep into the art of communication and critical thinking, and how these essential skills can transform our relationships and our futures with our teens. I'm your host, Francesca Hudson, the classic high school teacher, a writer, entrepreneur, and an advocate for meaningful conversations. Each episode, I explore strategies and share insights on how parents can enhance their communication with their children. It's not just about talking, it's about listening, understanding, and fostering an environment where critical thinking thrives. I'm here to equip you with the tools not only for immediate improvements in your family interactions, but also to set up our teens for long-term success in every aspect of their lives. So whether you're on your morning commute or winding down for the evening, join me as we unlock the potential of our conversations to shape a brighter, more thoughtful world. Let's get started. Hello and welcome. I am thrilled to have you join me today. I want to start this episode with a question. Have you ever looked at your teenager and thought, they know what to do, so why aren't they doing it? Why are they leaving assignments until the last minute? Why are they forgetting things they just wrote down? Or why are they starting tasks and then completely drifting off? Or even more stressful, why are they melting down under pressure even when they're capable? And here's the part that really stings for parents. You know that they're smart, so what's going on? Today, I want to gently challenge something that schools often assume but rarely explain, because there's one critical skill your teen is expected to have that their brain is still in the process of building. What is that skill, you ask me? Let me introduce you to something called executive function. Now, it sounds very official and boardroom-like, but stay with me because this changes everything. Executive function is essentially your brain's management system. It controls things like planning, organisation, time management, focus, emotional regulation, starting tasks even when you don't feel like it, all of those things. In simple terms, it's what allows your teen to turn intention into action. And here's the key insight with that. Schools are built on the assumption that students already have these skills, but research shows something very different. Executive function is made up of three core processes. We have working memory, we have cognitive flexibility, and inhibitory control, which in other words means self-control. And these don't just switch on, they develop slowly, very slowly, over many, many years. And here's where it gets really important. Executive function is controlled by the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, planning, and self-control. And this is one of the last parts of the brain to fully develop. In fact, executive functions are among the last mental abilities to mature, and they continue developing right into early adulthood. Let that sink in for a moment. Your teen is being asked to plan long-term assignments, to manage multiple deadlines at school, to regulate their emotions under pressure with their peer group, with their friends, with their relationships. They're being asked to stay focused in very distracting environments using a system that is still under construction. And this is where so many parents get confused, because often teens who struggle most with this are the ones who seem the most capable, right? And here's why. A teen might have really strong verbal ability. They can talk really well. They can hold a conversation. They have lots of opinions. They have a great memory for facts and for recall. And they are very highly intelligent. But they still struggle to start tasks or to break work into steps or to manage time or to follow through consistently, because executive function is not about intelligence. It's about self-management. And research shows that these skills develop unevenly, meaning teens can be highly capable in one area and completely overwhelmed in another. And this is where school becomes important, because this is where the real disconnect happens. By the time students reach high school, they are expected to manage multiple subjects. We have different teachers for different subjects on different timetables. They've got to track their deadlines independently, get out that homework diary and try and plan ahead of time. They've got to study without supervision. they've got to plan essays and assignments, they've got to revise effectively. But here's the issue with all of that. These are executive function tasks, not just academic tasks, right? Can you see the difference? And many teens have never been explicitly taught how to do them. So what happens? They procrastinate, they avoid, they panic, they shut down, not because they don't care, but because the system is asking for skills they haven't fully developed yet. So let's zoom in on one specific challenge. Let me give you an example. Planning ahead. You might say, why didn't you start this earlier? There's a big deadline looming and there's a meltdown happening at home, and a classic response from a parent, I say this too, why didn't you start this earlier? And your teen genuinely doesn't have a good answer. That's not defiance, that's development. Research suggests that teens often struggle to think far into the future, sometimes only planning effectively in a short time ahead. So when we say you've had 2 weeks to do this, their brain doesn't naturally process that the way an adult brain does. Now here's the part that changes how you respond as a parent. Executive function doesn't just break down with complexity, it breaks down under emotion. So during adolescence, the emotional center of the brain develops way faster than the control center, and this creates an imbalance between feeling and regulation, which means even if your teen can plan and organize, they may not be able to access those skills when stressed or when they're tired or when they're overwhelmed. And this is why you see, I knew what to do, but I just didn't do it. Or you might see some meltdowns before deadlines, or you might see avoidance of tasks that feel too big at home. And what this means for you as a parent is, and this is where I want to shift something for you, my friend, because once you understand this, you stop asking, why aren't they doing it? And start asking, okay, what skill are they missing right now? Because your role shifts from enforcer to coach, if you like, and that changes everything. Research consistently shows that executive function improves through practice in real-life situations, gradual increases in responsibility, and supporting and scaffolding from adults, from us, from parents, from educators. Not pressure, not lectures, not just try harder. So what does that look like in real life? It looks like this. It looks like you're sitting down at the kitchen table, homework starts, breaking the tasks into steps together, helping them plan backwards from deadlines, get their homework diary out, see when the deadlines are, plan back from that, modelling how to organise work, bring out your own phone if you have your diary on your phone or there's a calendar on the fridge, show them how you organise work, and sitting beside them at the start. Not forever, we're not wanting to be helicopter parents here and do the work for them, but just to get momentum going, because starting is often the hardest part. And I want to leave you with this thought. When your teen avoids work and they leave things late or they get overwhelmed, instead of thinking they're not trying, try this instead. Their brain is still learning how to manage this. Because they don't just need motivation, they need structure, they need strategy, and they need support. And until those systems become internal, then you are always going to come up against this when it comes time for deadlines, for homework, for exams, for study sessions. And I have put together Exam Ready, the complete study system. This is my A to Z of every type of study technique and revision technique and habit-forming technique for being able to work independently at home. Doesn't have to be for a big exam or test. This is just how to get through high school and how to revise and study independently so they're not relying on you day to day. I will link it in the show notes. It's called Exam Ready, Part 1, because we have a Part 2 coming up, which is more specifically for exam revision, but Part 1 is more about study habits, study techniques for any type of learner, any type of brain. You might be a visual learner, an oral learner, a written learner. However your teen learns best, we have something in Exam Ready for everybody, and we go through study and memory and revision and note-taking and all sorts of good stuff with a fine tooth comb. So I will link that in the show notes. And if this episode resonated with you, and if you've been feeling frustrated or confused or even worried about your teen's habits, I hope this gave you something really important. Clarity, my friend. Because when you understand what's actually going on beneath the surface, You can respond in a way that builds skills, not shame. And that's where real change begins. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Challenge Your Mind, Change the World. I hope you found our discussion enriching and that you're walking away with new ideas to enhance communication and critical thinking within your own family. If you enjoyed this episode and are finding value in our conversations, please take a moment to rate us on your favourite podcast platform. Your feedback not only supports us, but also helps other parents discover the tools they need to foster stronger relationships and critical thinking skills with their teens. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and share this with someone who you think could benefit from our today's topic. I'm Francesca Hudson, and I look forward to joining you again next time as we continue to challenge our minds and change the world. Until then, keep thinking critically and communicating effectively.